Hey guys, what up? It's our first ever episode of the Third Wheel Podcast. We have been sitting here diligently for a little while trying to get this bad bitch set up. And, swore right off the bat there.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm freaking pumped, dude.
Yeah.
I did not think that we would get here today, so I'm just so excited to be recording right now.
Yeah, this is freaking sweet.
I'm just so glad to be here with you guys.
Great company. Woohoo.
Great company. Woo! All right. Well,
I just wanted to ask you how your guys' week is going. Adara, it seemed like you had some stuff you wanted to share with us.
I just had a rough day today. I don't know why. I think I'm just hormonal because of my period. That's what I'm chalking it up to.
Red
because
Rivers,
yeah, shit like that. So I was upset because I was I didn't hear back from this job that I applied for, and I thought I should have heard back by now. But the real kicker was that I had this dream that I was friends with some of my favorite YouTubers.
Nice.
And I went to a party with Tana Mojo, and then I woke up
and it wasn't real.
It wasn't real. And
that's the
but
worst.
I felt at the end of my dream I had ruined a friendship, you know what I mean? Because it was one of those dreams that you wake up from and you're but actually I had to think about it. I'm I actually never did hang out with them.
I hate that. I've had dreams like that before. I'm so you didn't have a child last night.
Yeah.
And I have mixed feelings about it when I wake up.
When I was younger, I had these dreams that I was best friends with the actual Harry Potter characters, Ron, Hermione, and Harry. And I was just oh my God, this is so real, right? And then I woke up and realized that I was not actually friends with them, and it was heartbreaking.
So every night, was it a reoccurring dream or just one dream?
No, it was just but see, I remember that one night, that's how emotionally scarred I felt.
That's what I'm saying. But I used to have a reoccurring dream that I had a baby.
I know, you told me about this.
And then I would wake up and then I would miss her. But then I would also be grateful that I didn't have a kid yet because I was still in high school. So it was just strange.
It's just really disheartening because I feel you wake up thinking that it's actually part of your life.
Yeah.
And you actually have to reconcile that that did not happen.
It just sets your whole day off strange.
Well, the baby was the same in all your recurring dreams, right?
Yeah.
You probably still know what that baby looks like.
Yeah. Anyway, what else happened?
Guys.
I have not had much of a week so far. I don't know. It's Monday.
Well, I've had an interesting week.
Oh, yeah.
The other day, I would say probably 2 days ago, I was driving home from work and I was taking the turn to the last turn to get on our street. There's this old industrial building, and I was driving on that it's just a few blocks away from our house, and there's this guy walking in the middle of the street, and he was standing there, but he was walking on literally on the side that I was driving on, and I was just kept my pace, and because he started to kind of move to the left a little bit. And I was just okay, I'm good. I'm just going to keep, whatever's going to happen. There's weirdos everywhere. And, sorry, guys. And I was just yep, I'm just going to keep going. And this guy kind of takes a step to the left. And then he, steps back, in my lane. And so I, start putting on the brakes. And then he starts flipping me off as he keeps walking. And I was just oh, shit. This is not going to be good. So I roll, my window's already down because my AC in my truck's been out and during this heat wave. And I'm kind of half pissed, kind of half sorry, I almost ran you over. And then the guy just stops, angrily looks at me. He just stops and he just starts coming at me, pointing his finger. I'm sitting in the car and he's coming at me. He's weren't you that motherfucker who threatened to shoot me with a shotgun yesterday? And I was no, sir. That was my exact response. I didn't know what the fuck I was to say. And he was just oh, okay then. Have a good one. And then he just walked away. And I was just what the fuck?
Okay, but Draevin comes home to me and says, how do you not remember who threatened to shoot you yesterday? Clearly drugs.
But that just does not shock me at all because that's the quality of some of the people around here.
That is
is par for the course around here.
But he couldn't have been sober and asked that question. He was clearly on something either at the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. In my mind, it is that's probably what happened in reality. But if you remove if he is sober, that's a more interesting scenario.
I know.
And that's what I was trying to dream up. Like, did somebody, like, you know what I mean? Like, if he's totally lucid and he has no idea who threatened to shoot him with a shotgun the other day, what does that mean? Like, there's a story there, and I need to know it.
That would scare me more. I would rather go with the meth addict story.
Yeah, I mean, because that's probably realistically what happened. Anyway.
Nothing really interesting has happened with me, so really behind on my Netflix shows. You know, I did buy some cat litter that actually wasn't cat litter; it was gravel. So, it was on sale. I thought this is a great deal. No, it was not open, but it was taped up. So I thought, I'm just going to buy this because it's a really good deal. I'm so excited. I've never gotten cat litter this cheap before, and it was like a good brand. I get home, we dump it in the boxes, and there is chunks of like paper sacks in the litter. So I'm thinking, what is this? I asked Draevin, he goes, well, this is straight up gravel. So I could have gotten that for free from my driveway. But who does that? Who replaces cat litter with gravel?
I don't know. I was so jealous of that deal, too. And I'm so glad that it ended up at your house and not mine.
Yeah.
It ended up in the trash, but yeah, what a waste.
Way better.
Okay, so this week we wanted to kind of talk about how we got to where we are in life. Because I think we've all kind of agreed that, like, life never goes any way that you think it's going to.
Nope. Life is what happens when you're busy making plans. Somebody said that one time.
There you go, Gandhi.
Yep.
Yeah, so we just kind of want to talk about where we are now and how we got here and maybe what's from here.
Yeah, like where we're going. Yeah. I like that. It's a little empowering. We'll empower you guys, or you can laugh at us either way.
Who wants to go first?
Let's see.
Do you guys miss high school?
Depends on the day.
No, we shouldn't go with that question.
I think we should. It's so hard to like. Can we break character?
Yes, absolutely, because we can edit
I didn't know
this.
we were in character.
Well, not break character, but like, you know what I mean? Like talk. I don't know. I just didn't know if we could like talk about like what we're talking about.
I mean,
from,
obviously
like,
we don't want to like mention any names or anything like that.
No,
but,
I just kind of meant like breaking the third wall, like that we're making a podcast. It's like we're talking, like we're not talking about how we're doing a podcast and what we're talking about in the podcast. I don't know if we could talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about whatever we want.
Okay. So I think that we should talk about high school, but it's just like hard to like introduce the different topics, I guess. And,
do you guys miss high school and who did you think you were in high school?
Well, okay, so the second one is a bit much.
Okay,
that
fine.
question is a lot.
I'll just say right now, I don't miss high school.
I know, you never have. You never have. Even when you were in high school, you didn't like it, you didn't want to be in there, so that totally makes sense. I had a different experience. Mine was very involved, and like I was very involved in a lot of the community things and the drama department and the band, and I was constantly doing something, and it was like a rigorous routine and structure, and like obviously
That was
even
really
if you
good
take
for you.
Yeah, even if you take aside like the fact that you were young and you didn't have any bills and like you were only working 20 hours a week or whatever, just the fact that I was so like involved with everything, doing all the stuff that I was doing all the time, like I feel like Monday through Friday I was probably, there was a little bit there where I was doing like weightlifting classes, before school even started, and then I would be there till probably 7 or 8 o'clock at night. That's intense.
Yeah. I feel like I'm like in the middle of you two, because there were definitely aspects of high school that I just fucking hated, and like you could not pay me enough to like, I guess, feel some of like the angst that I felt in high school.
Yeah.
But there are aspects that I miss. Like I do miss the structure. I miss like getting to see like so many people that like you like actually connect with on a day-to-day basis. But also like if somebody were to ask me like, would you go back? The answer is fuck no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I miss high school lunches.
they weren't actually that bad.
You hated them in high school, but now it's like I will take that
And fresh fruits and vegetables.
that
every
grilled
day.
cheese sandwich and some fruit and veggies.
They always had mango.
It certainly beats ramen noodles.
That's where I fell in love with mango.
You fell in love with mangoes in high school?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I definitely did not like the schooling part of it.
I liked it. We liked it.
Because
Yeah, I
don't-
like school.
I
like
don't.
the learning part of
Yeah,
school.
you
Yeah.
like the learning part, and I like to learn, but I cannot learn the way that they want you to learn in school. That's what was frustrating.
Yeah, people learn in different ways. I understand
Yeah,
that.
I'm very hands-on, and like school structures, like how they teach things is not hands-on. Like it is the
Yeah.
furthest thing from that. So that's why I threw myself into like so many different extracurriculars, because everything that I did, from band to choir to everything, like all that stuff is like you learn from hands-on. You get better from practicing and being hands-on.
Yeah. I feel like I'm just like a sucker for a gold star. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I liked about high school, because it was like, you get an A, like, that's a freaking pat on the back, boost my ego a little bit. Like, every time that I got a good grade, I was like, this says something about me. And, like, I enjoyed that.
I don't know what it was about high school. I don't know. I feel like I'm a different person than I was
Well, yeah.
in high school. Everyone does. So, but am I dramatically different or similar?
I don't know. I've known you for too long. Like, because I think I'm a completely different person too. But like, I feel like the progression is like, it's subtle. You know what I mean? And then like, obviously, if you look at who you are now at 22 versus who you were at 16, like those are completely different people. But it didn't happen overnight.
I
You know?
just did not have a lot of friends in high school. And if I had to do it all over again, I would certainly do it differently. I would be more involved. I didn't have a lot of friends, so I spent a lot of time with my boyfriend, who, not Draven, but the one before you. And I really regret that. If I could do it all over again, I'd be more involved in like sports and choir and things like that. And I was my senior year. But there are other reasons I couldn't be as well, so.
I think that helps too when
It
you're
does help.
involved in after
Yeah.
school stuff. Because that's how I made a lot of friends and kept a lot of friends. But yeah, well, okay, but when you were that age, like where did you think you would be now? You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
look at because we look at ourselves back then and we're like, I would do all this different because I didn't know this. But since we didn't know that stuff, like where did you think you would be when you were that age?
I knew I'd be in college, but I didn't think I'd be in college for this long, that's for sure.
I don't know.
You never had thoughts about the future in high school, like what you wanted to be or do?
It was changing too much. And like
Yeah.
I had like this idea that like I had to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that I didn't want to, but I felt like it was like necessary. I just don't know. Like I knew I wanted to be like, I know I wanted to make movies or do something in media or something like that. So kind of like this podcast, I'm kind of finally getting on that ship a little bit. But I think I was just very probably like a little ditzy / naive, because I was like, you know, you watch when you're younger, like I watched people on like YouTube and other places, and I'm like, oh my God, they can do that from there. And like, you don't realize like how hard it is to like actually pull that off, or how lucky you have to be to get that to happen without moving somewhere and busting your ass for like months,
Yeah.
if not years on end to make it happen. I'm just not like, I'm at the point now where it's like, I'm not even sure like that may be even worth it.
Yeah.
Like, so I just don't know.
Well, yeah, career in media is like, it's for one, it's never guaranteed, and two, you have to like dedicate like basically your whole life to it. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like you have to
everything.
be so motivated within yourself every single day to make that happen. And I don't think that's something you think about when you're a kid. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
you
it's
think
just like, oh my God, it's going to happen.
yeah. Well, you think you're gonna go to film school, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll figure it out in film school, and like
Yeah.
for a career like that, you don't even need an education necessarily to get there.
No, you don't. Like even when I went to Kirkwood and we were doing the communications degree or whatever, and it was like, you know what? If I really wanted to work on like a TV set or like for the news, I don't need a friggin' degree to do
I
that.
honestly still don't know what a communications degree does.
I
for
don't
you.
either.
Like, I don't know. I don't know about that.
It's like
major
I
in
put
general.
liberal arts above communications, because then at least they were honest about how they knew
Yeah.
nothing.
Okay, when I was in high school, I thought I was just going to go to college for a couple years. I was planning on majoring in communication. I wanted to write or be a writer. Just write a book and write for a newspaper, write for a magazine. And then we went to college and I was writing for the newspaper.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I hated it. I did not like it
yeah.
because it was too structured. And I'm really not that great at writing when it comes down to it. And And then on top of it, the communications class we were in, Draven and I were in this class
It was
together.
brutal.
It was awful. It was like, do you think the media affects us?
No.
Right? It was
Yeah.
like, I'm paying $1,000 for this. So, and then at the same time, I had this really awesome sociology teacher.
Yes.
And she was amazing. And she just completely changed my whole outlook on everything. And
Same.
eventually, I just decided to switch my major to psychology. And it just kind of stemmed from there. So,
Yeah. Well, and I guess I like always thought that I wanted to go to school, and I thought I wanted to go to school for a long time too. I'm like, if I have to go to school for 8 or 10 years, like that's totally cool with me because I'm gonna be a doctor. Because I like the gold stars, I like the medals. Doctor's a pretty big medal.
Yeah.
So, but then I get to school, and I've always done well in school. I've never really had to try that hard. And then all of a sudden, it was like I had to put all of this extra effort towards something. And then the further I got into it, the less I was sure it was what I actually like wanted to do. Because another thing was I thought that if I was like serving other people with my career, that would like,
it would at least be fulfilling.
yeah, it would
in
like
some-
undoubtedly make me happy. Like
Right.
no matter what. And I just don't think that that's the case. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think that I could, like, I was trying to almost like live for other people
Right.
in a sense. And I realized that I have to like do what like actually makes me happy and like what I'm like driven to do, which I still am not doing. but I'm trying. I'm trying.
Yeah, that's a big thing. And like, we should all say, none of us have kids.
Yeah.
Which is not, people who have kids that are our age, like, that's perfectly fine. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I feel like, to be perfectly honest, like, you could, like, life is a little bit more laid out for you if you had a kid at our age.
Right.
Because it seems pretty obvious that for the next 18 years, you have, like, one primary goal in your mind, like, of what everything you do is going to affect this little child.
I can barely take care of myself. So
Yeah.
props
Well-
to those who can take care of a job themselves and pets and kids because I struggle.
Well, and I feel like there's something tempting about that too, because then that takes it takes some of the pressure off you.
Yeah.
If you decide that like you just want to like settle down and have a family, and like as long as like you and whoever you were with are making enough money to provide for that family, then like you're doing well, and like that's all that you want. And that, I don't know, it's a much simpler way to be. Like, I feel like it is a good way to obtain happiness, but it's just not what I want right now.
And I know that this will probably sound controversial, but it just sounds easier.
In some aspects, I think.
I mean, like,
In some
obviously,
ways.
I'm totally not.
But
I don't think that
definitely.
that's necessarily true.
No, because I'm not, like, incorporating, like, the raising and the stuff like that. I just mean, like, in terms of, like, your life goals.
Right, but you do have to make so many sacrifices for your life goals, because I do think that everybody has goals, like regardless. Like I think that you can still get like that fulfillment when you have kids, but you are giving up certain needs
Freedoms.
and wants. Yeah.
Right. No,
Yeah.
I totally get that. Yeah. No, I'm just, yeah.
Isn't it strange that we're at the age where we can have kids now? I
And
know
it's
that
not-
sounds weird,
Yeah,
but
it's not like an early thing. It's not like,
No.
oh my God, she's pregnant. It's like, congratulations.
but I still feel that way when I see someone pregnant in our grade. I'm like, are you all right? Is this what you wanted? But yes, like, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
You know?
I feel like I'm finally. at
It's
the-
my own anxiety.
Yeah, I get that. Because I feel like I was in a place where I felt like I was like comparing myself to like everybody else's lives for like way too long in my life. So now I finally feel like completely like removed from what everybody else is doing. So now when I see that somebody's like pregnant and like they're happy, like that's just all I think about. You know what I mean? Like I don't even like.
A part of me's jealous because
Yeah.
I'm like, I do want a baby. Like, I
Yeah.
really do. It's an exciting time as well. And I feel so bored right now. Like, I'm just getting up and going to work and doing school. And it's so boring and monotonous,
Yeah.
you know?
For sure. Yeah, I feel like I was that way for a while too. And there was a time that I really wanted a baby too, which is honestly nuts, me thinking about it, just the way my mental state at the time. Now I just look at those people and I'm just like happy for them because their lives aren't my life. You know what I mean? Like, my life has a different trajectory than theirs. So that doesn't mean that I'm not going to have, like, that baby shower and I'm not going to have that baby. But it's just not going to be when they are, the way that they're doing it. And that's what they want to do.
It's not even just people our age, though, because someone at work had a baby, and she's about 30-some, and I'm still like, oh.
Oh, damn.
Yes.
I think a lot of it probably has to do, too, with, like, maybe, and I could just be projecting here, like, I don't know in actuality, but, like, I feel like some of the people that have kids, at least that I know or something, like, they seem like they know what they want to do, and they're already making, like, significant strides towards that, whether they be, like, a plumber or a mechanic or,
I think
like, an administrator of a college or
know you're going to have a baby, you're right. You have to figure it out. Like, it definitely makes you grow up because, you know, you've got to have a career or a job. You've got to do something. You can't just quit that job either, you know?
Exactly. Well, and even I still think that, you know, about, like, where I am in life.
Right.
Like, if something doesn't work out, like, obviously, like, now more than ever, I would still be, like, devastated, like, if I, like, lost my job or something. But I at least still have that mentality of, like, well, I still have time. Like, I still have time to figure it out. And if you have a kid, I feel like you don't get that luxury.
Well, and you know you can always figure something out for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you can always move back home.
Yeah.
I guess. But if you have a child, is that going to be your first thought? Well, if this doesn't work out, I could just move back home. Or,
Yeah, it's more of a, like, this has to work out.
Yeah,
like, I
it
have
has
to make it work. Yeah.
So I think in that aspect, it's
me.
definitely harder.
Yeah. Well, and I feel, I don't know. Like, how do you think, like, life just kind of, like, hit you? You know what I mean? Because I feel like you go through it and you're, like, I think you kind of think it's all, like, roses and, like, it's going to be fantastic as soon as you can move out of the house and you're, like, done with people telling you what to do. So when does life hit you and be like, no, bitch? Like,
when did that happen for you, Draven?
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question. I mean, it probably happened while I was with you. So, I kind of know when.
There was like a specific moment or day or time or just...
No, it was more like a time period. So there was like so I kind of do remember it. It was kind of like, so what happened is I was invited to come back to the high school by the previous drama director. One of the kids of the spring play had decided he wasn't going to do it anymore, and she couldn't find anybody, so she gave me a call. And I went and did that, and that was really fun, and I really liked that. But kind of after the rehearsals and stuff like that, there were like these whispers that like this was her last thing she was ever doing, and she was going to retire. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, she's been doing this for 30 years, and she's retiring or whatever. And one of the nights I asked, like, how many applicants are there, you know, for like the position? Because, like, you know, it's a director position. And she was like, there are 0. And if nobody applies, the kids won't have a musical next year. And she was really bummed about it, but she was also kind of like, I don't want to come out of retirement and like do this again.
Yeah, well, she had already I remember
she had already come back out of retirement.
Yeah, she came back because she wanted them to have a play so bad, and she just couldn't keep doing it. I remember that.
It was like her sole mission, and like it just like crushed me on the inside. Like I don't remember saying anything, but I just remember just like, fuck, like if I was in high school and like there wasn't like a musical for me to be in, and during the fall, like one of the staples of like your high school experience, like I was like, you know what? I know a lot about this topic, and like I've been doing this for a long time. I don't think I'm nearly as qualified as I should be, but I'm going to give it a go. And so I applied and I did that, and I got the job. And so I became the drama director of the high school here. And it was quite an insane experience. It really was. It made me grow up. I had a budget. I had these, I had to make everything work. I had to make trips to Fort Dodge to pick up costumes and find suppliers and do backdrops and manage 50 kids and do auditions, and kind of had to work together like as like almost like a coworker with like my previous with
your teacher.
the teachers and our old pianist, and I just, all of that was so like holy crap. And then while that was going on at the same time, I had to get a job, like a real one, because the one at the high school wasn't really making any money. It was kind of, I mean, I got paid to do it, but it wasn't
like you're paid at the end, like it wasn't like an hourly position.
Yeah, like I started doing everything in like April of that year, And then the musical didn't wrap up until November, and even then it was only like lunch money. Yeah.
Fun money.
Yeah, it was kind of like fun money, kind of a bonus check. So anyway, that I had to get a real job, and the real job that I got was being a soil sampler, and that was a tough job. That was...
You were up at 5 a.m.
Yep, I had to be...
At the latest, probably.
Yeah.
And then you were driving to these fields, and it was like, what, freezing cold outside?
Some
so you
days
were traveling.
Yeah.
And then you came home, and you had to get dressed up.
And then go do the musical.
And that started at 7 at night, and then that didn't end until 10 o'clock sometimes.
Yep.
And then you would come home and do it all over again.
Yeah, and it was like that way for a few months. And I think that's when I grew up, and like I really learned like a work ethic. Like,
well, you knew you could do more.
It was kind of like what we were talking about. Like, I legitimately had no other option. Like, that was it. Like, there was, like, and what was also so weird, like, realistically, like, looking back, what was so weird was the contrast in a single day. Like, in a single day, I would get up and I'd be alone all day. Like, absolutely in the middle of nowhere, alone. Cold, tired. Like, really.
Tired.
Seriously,
hungry.
like, beaten down, hungry. Like, I wish I was kidding when I wasn't. Like, it was brutal work some days. And then I'd have to come home, kind of shower and shake that experience off, and then go be like in charge of like 50 or 60 people.
Yeah.
And then be like thrown into like that social environment and tell people what to do and make sure that all this stuff, like throwing a musical together is no small feat. Like it was a lot of freaking planning and organizing and work. Like just even in one day, like that's what it looked like. It was like being alone all day, being out in the cold and the rain, and it sucked. And then flipping that around and then having to go do that at night.
Isn't that like the best feeling ever though, when you do that? When you're like, you don't even think that you're capable of that, like, and then you do it and you're like, I can do a lot more than I give myself credit for. Like, that's how I always feel when I pull stuff off like that.
Yeah,
like,
that's
it's
what
the
I mean.
best.
I think you realized you could do so much more than you thought you could.
And it felt empowering. Like, it felt so, like you were saying, just like so good. And like, I still crave it to like this day. Like right now I work at an office job where I don't do much, and like, I don't know, like it just doesn't feel that rewarding.
Yeah.
And that was just absolutely 100%. Every single waking hour was just, it was enjoyment for like those 3 months.
Well, and then you realized you had money and the goals you needed to spend that money on, and then you learned how to manage your bills, and we had gotten our own place, and it was like, okay, like
this is it.
Yeah, I have to have a job now.
Yeah. I feel like your come to Jesus moment with like growing up was like a lot earlier than like me and Draven. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you got it figured out way earlier than the both of us.
100%.
Well, let's just state right now that none of us have it figured out, even today.
Okay, well we have a lot more figured out
necessarily
than we
true. Yeah, we are all like self-deprecating assholes to ourselves. So
for sure.
Just be prepared.
When
for
did
that.
life hit you in the face, Adara?
I feel like mine was actually pretty recently. Like, I think what really, like, made me be like, okay, what the fuck am I gonna do with my life was when I had to leave school. Because I wasn't doing well in school. Like, I wasn't putting forth, like, effort into anything. And I had, like, this 2-year period of my life, really, where I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. And, like, when I was in high school, I always had a plan. Like, even if my plan changed, I would still always have one.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and, like, for 2 years, I was like, I have no fucking clue what I'm gonna do with my life. Like, it was scary, because it's like, at this point, I don't know where my life's going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, it was crazy. Like, I don't know.
I wouldn't put it all on yourself. Like, and let's just keep in mind that through all of us having this come to Jesus moment, I guess, there was a, I don't know how to say this, but, you know, mental.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's normal growing up too, though, is people like, because I think that it's overwhelming. Like, I think it's really overwhelming to grow up.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, like, not
know what to do. But it's especially hard to go to college or even figure things out when you're depressed or anxious, and then things aren't working out right, and then that fuels the depression and anxiety, and then you know that that's what's going on, and then that on top of it makes it worse. So
yeah, for sure. Like, I think that I definitely had like mental struggles, but I do think that there was like a point where I was almost using that as like a crutch. Like, it was almost like, oh, like, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this because I'm so sad, I'm so anxious, like, blah blah blah. And I feel like part of growing up is like accepting that like you are going to have these issues, and a lot of people have these issues, and they make it work.
Mm-hmm.
And when I quit school, it was like, now I still have to make it work. Like, I decided that I couldn't handle it, but that doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, like, I still need to make money. There's nothing wrong with working at an entry-level job for your entire life, but I still knew that that's not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So it was like, I either have to accept that, like, I'm never going to, like, achieve any goals that I thought that I was going to achieve when I was an adult, or I have to, like, change what I'm doing. So I, like, decided that I was going to take a year off of school, because I never thought that I wouldn't go back. Like, to this day, like, I couldn't accept that, you know what I mean? Like, I need to get a degree just for myself. Like, it's just something that I need to do for me. So I decided that I would take this year off. I got a full-time job as a kitchen manager at a gas station, and that was hell.
You were making bank.
I was making good money, but it wasn't worth the money. You know what I mean? Like, all of the stress that it put me on, because I was working, like, 11, 12-hour days, and they would, like, take all of my days off, and, like, it was just completely overwhelming. And, like, the way that job was structured, like, I could have maybe, like, worked my way up in management there, but there, like, if I had stayed at that job, there would have been no time for school. Like, there's just no way it would have happened, because I was working, like, 50 or 60 hours a week.
Right. And 40's already a lot to maintain as it is.
Exactly. I was unhappy there. I decided, again, I'm going to have to quit something and, like, figure something else out.
Right.
So then I finally got the job that I'm at now, where I can go back to school for free.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. And, like, I'm maintaining that. I'm getting there on time, and I'm still going to go to school after it. And I'm, like, finally, like, allowing myself to, like, have hobbies and stuff too, like this podcast.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
For everyone.
Definitely something that I'm working on too. Like,
yeah.
Enjoying hobbies more, like taking the time to do that. And
Draven,
like,
you said something that was really interesting to me once. You were like, when you quit a job and then there's a little bit of time lapse before you start that new one, you always look back and think, what did I do with my time besides work?
Oh my God, yeah.
And that's when you really started to be like, I need a hobby. Like, I need something to put my time into.
Yeah.
Because I think it's so easy when you get off work just to come home and chill. Or sit on the couch, get lost in Netflix, get lost in a video game.
Social media,
yeah,
Instagram.
Social media. It's so easy and it's nice.
Yeah.
Dude, that was a big realization, because...
And that was pretty recent as well.
Yeah, that is a recent thing. And that's why we're doing this podcast. Like, that's part of the reason I was like, let's make this happen. Like, I don't care what it takes, because it was literally like, I remember every single time I quit a job was like, I felt like this just burning fire of, like, desperation, and, like, what the literal fuck was I doing with all of my extra time? Like, all that time that I was not working, what was I doing?
And it's just like a what is my life moment.
Yes.
Because you do still have all these dreams and all these passions. And I think that was another reason why it was so hard for me to maybe, like, grow up and just do what I needed to do. Because I had so many things that, like, I have all these dreams and I want to, like, move to the West Coast and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, well, none of that's happening because I have to do this and I have to do that. And it's like...
It's all small.
But you make
small
time
goals,
for what you want to make time for.
Right. And I think it is small goals, and then eventually you'll get there.
Yeah.
Like, you have to start somewhere.
Exactly.
Basically, is what I'm saying. You can't just wake up one day, well, I'm going to move to the West Coast. Well, how are you going to make that happen? Mm-hmm. So you're thinking about it now, you're planning about it now, and you know eventually that it will happen because you're working on all these smaller things.
Well, yeah, and I'm not that type of person either. I'm not going to be like, oh, I have $500 in my bank account, so that means I'm going to move away and just hope it works out. Like, that's not how I am either.
Well, you know what's weird, too? So I've been realizing this recently is, like, I used to watch movies.
35 minutes?
Like, all the time. Like, I would probably never stop watching movies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when I first met you, that's all we did every single night.
Yep.
I guess, babe, I have to show you this movie.
Yeah. And, like, now it's like...
Well, I lived under a rock, so...
I'm trying to, like...
To be fair.
Reevaluate, like, what I enjoy.
It was really fun.
Like, I'm trying to, like, do new types of media. Like, I recently started reading comic books because I was just, like... I need to, like, find something different and, like... Trying to read again too, and like shows honestly are like definitely a new medium. I'm just saying, like, in general, like, there's all these things that we used to do like when we were younger, and for some reason, like, when I'm older, I'm just like having more fun doing stuff like this.
That was so much fun.
Like, if I can make it a day without watching any TV, I'm like, I'm a god.
I have made that
God.
literally
I did it.
a goal.
I need to make that a goal too. Like, I waste so much time.
I'm like, I fucking did it. I accomplished this. Like, I did it. Like,
Now stop watching YouTube.
Today,
Never.
so far, I have only watched, including YouTube time, 45 minutes of content. Less than an hour.
That's good. That's damn.
I
good.
Bam.
haven't watched anything.
Ha! Oh.
I need to like
Boom.
shadow you or something because I'm not good at
No,
that.
I don't know what I'm.
It's a lot of coloring books.
It's a lot of crying. I don't want to go to work.
I could use
I need
some tears.
food.
I don't cry enough. Like, I would
I'm
love
just
that.
kidding.
You have that problem too?
I cannot cry. I've
I
not
can't
cried
cry
for
either.
6
I
or
don't
7
cry
months.
either.
Well, out of all of us, the one who's most likely to cry is you.
I haven't
Unless
seen
we
you cry
put the
that often.
Titanic on, then it's Adara.
I only there's no, you know.
Okay, all we have to do is
No,
just
me-
play the
No,
song.
me and crying though, like even if I feel like crying, like even though I'm like I really want the Titanic to make me cry right now. Like I feel like crying, but like I cannot get a single tear to fall from my face, like try as I might. It does not happen.
Crying is so good
Do you
for
have this battle? So like I have this battle within myself when I feel like I'm gonna cry. I'll be like, I'll feel it come on and then it'll stop. And then I'm just like,
Yeah.
come on, pussy, cry.
Yeah,
you can
that's how I
cry.
feel. I'm
you
like,
can
you
cry.
need this. You
Yeah,
need
that's
this.
exactly what I do. And then it never happens. And
My
I'm just
first
like,
instinct is, should I go to my room? Because did you
Oh,
guys
God.
get sent to your room when you were crying as a
yeah.
kid?
Oh, yeah.
Go to your room. So my first instinct is like, Draven, I'll just go to my bedroom, our bedroom, and cry. Draven's
don't
like,
think
no.
so. yeah, you were crying. You're like, I'll leave. And I'm like, why? That's psychotic. Yeah, go cry in a bedroom alone while I play Call of Duty.
Yeah, stop bugging me with your tears.
Yeah, how dare you?
Is
You're
that
fucking
weird that I'm
animal.
like, that's the normal? Like,
Yes.
that's.
yes.
I think
if
it's
you have
weird.
not already pinned that as some psychological triumph you need to
Hey,
overcome at
but
some
I
We
point.
get
already know.
That's why I don't cry though. Like I already know that's why I don't cry, cause you know, shit that happens.
Shit's that happens.
Shit that happens.
Has happened, will happen
Shit
again.
that had happened makes me not cry.
Oh, when did you feel that I had my come to Jesus moment?
I feel like it was like as soon, like even before you graduated.
I was gonna say that. I feel like it was my senior year of high school.
Yeah, because you were in a situation where it was kind of like I need to figure everything out for myself because I'm kind of on my own after this, like completely. Like you like got on your own phone plan, you like got your own bank account with like nobody on it, like I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't really like I got time to figure that out. It was kind of like you have to figure this out because, well, and maybe I didn't, and I could have stayed like on my parents' phone plan and stuff, but then I would have maybe had to sacrifice what I wanted to do with my life for the security. So at a very young age, I was like, if I want to make my own path and do what makes me happy, then there are sacrifices I'm going to have to make, and it made me grow up really fast, and
I'm so glad you
That's
decided to
what
do
it
that
is.
though, because I don't know who you'd be if you didn't do that.
would I even be here?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know?
I don't know. Because I think like the path that was laid out for you is so different from who you just are.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't I don't know. I don't know who you would be if you hadn't done what you did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd be.
That's
where-
why I feel that I was so different in high school than now.
And I think you were like kind of naive in high school.
Oh,
like,
definitely.
Not like I don't
And
mean
maybe
that in a mean
judgmental,
way. Yeah.
but not
you were never malicious. Like I don't think you were ever
No.
doing it knowingly.
no, I think it's just certain things that you're led to believe, and then until you start making your own opinions and own judgments,
Are we
know.
particularly talking about religion in this instance?
Oh,
are we-
bringing up
I wasn't
religion
gonna
right
say
now?
anything.
No, let's save that
specific.
one for a separate
Yeah, that
podcast.
can
I don't
be
want
a
to
whole
piss
thing
everybody
on its
off
own.
like right off the bat.
That's
if
definitely
anybody's-
one we can all agree on for the
Yeah,
most part.
that definitely
there,
has
too.
something to do about it. And I think
Let's
we've all
just-
had our
I
own
like
separate...
wish
Yeah.
I could go back and like say sorry to people. Like if you ever felt like I judged you in any way, like I am sorry. And like maybe that's why I
Yeah.
didn't have a lot of friends. Like it could be due to me, but
If I'm not correct, we all have like a similar outlook when it comes to religion currently.
Kind of,
Right.
yeah.
but we
Yes
aren't gonna
and
get
no.
into that.
No, I'm just saying that's for a different podcast. I'm just like setting up a little teaser here because like we all kind of have the same like outcome now, similar anyway.
When we were
but we all
watching
had
the new
different
movie,
paths.
we watched The Lion King last night, the new one.
Yeah.
Oh my
Which
fuck.
was okay.
Was it not good?
No, I
didn't
hated it.
want to see it. I didn't
Blech.
have a good feeling about it.
But I know that was my favorite movie as a child, so I know it front and back. And yeah, it was awful. But anyway, there's like these two different viewpoints in that movie. One that Pumbaa and Timon have, and then one that Simba was raised with. And
Okay.
I'm just
Yeah.
comparing that to how Draven and I view religion, but it's very similar, but also very different at the
Yeah.
same time.
You guys are getting so many arguments about that.
Because
so
Pumbaa-
I know how it goes.
No,
Because,
we aren't
like-
going to get into it.
No, I was
We're
talking about-
just stating straight up that this is the teaser.
Teaser for next time.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, folks.
Next episode, religion.
Who
Oh my
gives a
god.
shit?
Okay.
Skip this one if you're gonna be offended.
How do you manage your expectations now and like pivot towards the new goals that you have?
I feel like it's more like
Hell.
a survival instinct. Like, it's a survival thing, really.
I missed the question. What was it?
Well, I'm just asking, like, how do you manage your expectations now for what your life is going to be, and how do you keep pushing forward to the goals that you have?
I have not figured that out yet.
Okay,
Um,
so you're still in the process.
If you call it a process, like I'm still trying to like utilize like my previous revelations in real life currently, and I don't think I'm in the proper headspace to make new revelations.
Oh.
If that makes sense.
So you're just doing the day to day for now.
Currently, I am doing the day to day.
It's a small goals thing, right?
That's the most effective way
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah,
really
and
is.
obviously, like I'm trying to find a new job at the moment, so like that's my main focus, and then this has been the podcast. Like starting this has been my secondary main focus.
We have
so.
so much going on in life right now.
There,
That's
it has been
great.
friggin' insane, dude. Like a lot.
And then we just went on a road trip.
To Colorado.
That was fun.
Talk
That
about
was
freedom.
intense.
I
Ooh.
loved it. Oh, I feel like that reminded me of like why I'm doing what I'm doing now.
That's what I'm saying.
I
I
did.
want to travel.
I
for
came
sure.
back with a lot to talk about, as Mikayla knows from that trip.
What do you mean?
Well, I just like came back and was just like, I definitely know that like I want to do this more often, and like the life that I live now definitely does not have any of that involved.
Yeah.
So like I don't know what shape it is. Like I feel like I just got okay. So like there's this really interesting thing that I heard recently, probably like a few months ago, when it's like when you're trying to figure out who you are, kind of a thing, like what you're actually doing like unintentionally is figuring out who you're not. And
Dude, I have always felt that.
yeah, so we all do. Like we all feel that. Like we all know who we're not. And so like I'm just trying to actively figure out who I am not. And like I am not the kind of person that wants to stay in one place forever and do the same thing.
Oh,
over.
Yeah.
good, because I've always
Yeah,
felt that
I've been
way.
known that.
So
No, and,
I
like-
didn't know that about you.
Wait, what?
I thought you wanted to like move somewhere and stay there because you had moved around so much.
Nope. I have 100% decided that like I used to think that. So,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Because
So I'm
everything
saying
was
this is
so
a little new to
chaotic,
me.
Because
Yeah.
I counted, and between helping my parents move multiple times after they split and stuff, like after doing all of that, like I think I had moved and helped them move to like different places. Like it was probably 15.
Yeah.
And I did that all within like the span of 5 years. So I think, yeah, I was a little raw. I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like moving somewhere new helps you grow yourself as well because
Yes.
it's like you grow out of the place that you're in and then it's time to move on.
I mean, there's like studies that say that nothing makes you happier than travel. Like it's not money, it's not anything. Like I don't know, there's just something about going somewhere new.
Well, and you can buy something and the newness wears off, but you're going to have those memories forever.
Yeah,
We're
it's-
never going to
Yeah.
forget our road trip.
Yeah, there's nothing like it. There really isn't. I don't know. I want like a home base though. You know what I mean?
I think that's good to always have a place to come home to. I
Yeah.
always
I agree.
like going places, but I love having the couch.
Yeah,
to
like
come
I
home
want
to.
the feeling of home for sure.
See, like,
I love that.
For me, it's always going to be like Norfolk. Like, it's always going to be a home base. Anywhere there is going to be a home base for me. That's
Your home base.
My home base. That's my home base. Where, that's, I get that. But I also think that, like, even, like, right now, like, this house, right? You know you're not going to keep this house forever.
No.
But it is home base.
Yes, for sure. Like, I would even consider, like, getting, like, a house here, like, forever. If I had the money. Like, if I ever had the means to, I would. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, but even now, like, I know that I don't want my home base to be here.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't... It's never been for me. Like, I've never felt like it was for me. You know what I mean? I've never
had a connection, really.
Yeah, and, like, even, like, I have friends here, but, like, general, like, interests around here have never been mine. I hate the winter. Like, I've never seen myself, like, calling this, like, my home.
You thrive in the summer.
I love the summer. I love the warm.
I like the fall. See, I am terrified. Like, one of the things that I know that I'm terrified of is, like, if I ever move to, like, California and, like, you know, like, mid-California or whatever, like, Southern California where, like, LA is and stuff like that. Like, I am absolutely terrified of moving there because they don't have seasons.
Oh, my God, I would love it.
Like, it is summer all the time. Can you imagine the terror?
A dream.
That is awful.
That's heaven. That is heaven on earth.
The leaves don't change colors, Adara. What am I supposed to do?
Exactly.
I get these strong vibes. Like today, the heat
So
wave
you
went
thrive
away.
in the fall.
Oh my God! Yes,
when do
that
I
is my
thrive?
Spring.
You thrive all the time.
No,
You
I
do.
do not.
You do actually thrive
Jesus
all the time.
Christ, you guys. I hate you all.
I don't know.
I was going to say, I know how I'm working towards my goals every day.
Okay.
Just fucking
Bring
getting
it.
through it.
Just doing it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Knowing
like
that this
Nike.
is not what I want to do forever. This is not permanent, and just keeping that in mind.
I think that's what's helped me is, like, knowing that this isn't forever and, like, I'm actually doing something that's going to, like, bring me closer to it.
Right. And everyone asked me, well, you're close to graduating. When are you going to graduate? Whenever I get around to it, guys.
Whenever the fuck I feel like it.
It's hard to work full-time and go to school full-time. And also, what do you want to do when you graduate? Do you want to teach? Do you want to be a cop? Haha.
Dude,
like, I have no
I
clue.
gotta tell you a pet peeve of mine. I hate when people ask about your major or, like, what you're doing with school. Like, I feel like that should be more of a personal question than it actually is. Like, I feel like it should be, like, asking, like, how many times are you and Draven having sex a week? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's that shit. And people ask it all the time. And then I always feel like I have to, like, justify it. You know what I mean? Like, I have to, like, fluff it up.
Oh, sure.
Like, oh, are you in school? Oh, no, but, like, I'm planning on doing this, that, or the other.
Right.
Like, I have to.
And and how do you feel when someone asks you if you're in school and you're like, no, I'm not. But you feel like you have to be like, but I'm doing this, 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 and this.
Oh, I feel like that all. So this happens to me literally on a daily basis. So, like, this doesn't even faze me anymore. Especially because I work with a lot of old people in technology, and it takes a long time. So they ask a lot of questions. And one of them is like, oh my gosh, are you in school? And it's like, no, but I was. For how long? 2 years. Oh, well, you didn't get your degree? No, I did not. Why didn't you get your degree? Fuck if I know. If I knew that, I'd have the damn degree.
Is that
you know
not,
what
like,
I mean?
super personal? Like, obviously, like, the decision to, like, stay in school or leave school is, like, I
It's
think
just
it's deeply
offensive.
personal.
Like,
Well, it's like,
are you
how
in school at all? Like, does that define me?
It's
Me
like-
going to school, not going to school, where I work?
How
That's
far
another thing.
do you want to go into this? Like, that's what I always feel like asking them. It's like, because if you really want to know, like, there's systematic problems with the way that education
Jesus.
is
See,
taught.
okay,
And, like,
all
so
right,
that's
no.
what I mean. So
No,
that right
no,
there.
no.
So
I
that-
just can't
well,
talk to
stop.
anyone.
No. So that reaction that Adara just had, that's why I hate that question.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I could really sit here and chew your ear off for freaking hours about why I did not
This is
finish
why
school.
I can't talk to anybody. When they ask what you're doing, are you in school? It's like, that's none of your business. And is that going to be how you judge me based on
I
personal
agree.
character? And then it's like, okay, we'll talk about the weather then. I don't want to talk about the weather. I'm not good at
Oh
small
my God.
talk.
I did not anticipate how much in my real life I would actually have to talk about the weather.
It's
like,
awful.
I didn't think it was a
It's
thing.
sure hot outside, isn't it?
I cannot tell you how many times I've talked about the weather this
We live
year.
in Iowa. Yeah, it gets really cold and then it gets really hot.
But, you know, I use it. I do use it.
It's
Because
a valuable tool.
old people fucking love
They
it.
do.
They fucking
It's their
love it.
crack.
Like you
scares
you
me.
talk to an old lady on the street, she says, "Hi, how are you guys?" We're like, "Fantastic. It's a lovely day out today." She stops. She looks at you in the eyes and she's like, "It is fantastic outside.
Yep.
Like, you have a great day."
Yep. I get that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's supposed to rain. That it is. I see it out there
People think
looking like it's coming
awkward
in.
if you're not talking, and it's like, no, we don't need to talk. It's not awkward. Like,
Okay,
I can walk to
here's
my
the
car
problem.
and you can walk to your
No,
car.
no. See, this is where you are 100% wrong, because
I know. This is
you
why I
live,
don't have
you work
friends.
in an office where it is so
Don't
quiet.
remind me.
No, it is so quiet when I visit you at work. I literally hear ringing in my ears. Okay, that is how quiet it is at your
I
work.
kind of like it.
That is great for
Yeah.
you. You love it. But see, here's the thing.
Good for you.
I
Not
walk in
wrong.
there and my first thing is like, I need to get the fuck out of here. Okay, that's what I always think. Now, at my work, every single time somebody walks in, and I have to have a conversation with them. I have to, because it's unavoidable. Okay? It's unavoidable. I have to have a conversation with them. Doesn't matter what their age is at all. I have to. So the weather, like Adara was saying, is like crack to most people. It's gonna rain. That it
50
is.
plus, you hit them with the weather and you're in.
Just hit me up with food and we can have a good
Yeah,
talk.
I'm not saying I like it, but it's the way it is.
I know it is. I'm just complaining.
I get it. I
Yeah,
get
what do
it for
people talk
sure.
about in LA?
Not the weather.
Not the weather.
Doesn't that sound like
Exactly.
a fucking dream?
No, does not sound good at all.
I really like spring. I like rain and storms, but I
I
feel
do
like
like
we don't
rain.
really get spring anymore.
Yeah.
We don't.
So
It's been a while.
That's really been.
Now we're actually talking about the weather. That's
Oh,
really funny.
fuck me. Do you guys?
Ah, we can't even escape it.
Got him.
Do you guys accept your current life situation, or?
I have made peace with it. I have.
I'm planning on running away any day now.
So I'm not trusting you with any grocery lists then.
Nope, do not trust me with any grocery list. Don't give me any
You wouldn't
cards.
survive without me.
I understand that. You're coming with me, you just don't know it yet.
If you were to leave, would you like change? Like, would you do like an identity change? Like, would you be like, I'm like off grid now?
No, I'd probably...
You
See,
are
I
who
don't
you
have
are.
a very strong social media presence at all. As a matter of fact,
So you're already off
What?
grid.
I am already off grid.
He's working his way there slowly. That's the thing.
I've been slowly erasing my identity this entire time.
There was some people from my town, from my hometown, and I used to hang out with a lot of different people, and there was one summer where I just like fell off the grid. Like I didn't text anybody, I didn't post anything, and everybody thought I'd probably died.
That's because he met me and he doesn't want to be associated with me. So.
No,
That's
I'm
really
talking about
fucked
like
up,
the
Draven.
hometown. No, and I think
I wouldn't either.
I think even when I was in high school, I was just like, there is something sickening about this,
Oh man.
and so I just backed off.
So have you accepted your current life situation or not?
Yes,
That was hesitant.
Mikayla.
my joke
I
answer. I
have.
had a joke answer, and I have. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. I love my cats.
Yeah, I feel like I'm actually working towards something now, and that's all I want to feel like. Like, I feel like
am.
that gives you satisfaction.
I'm happy now than happier now than I've ever been.
I think that's true for me too. Actually, it is.
I think that's got to be true for you too, Draven.
It has to be, and I know that it is because I used to be pretty miserable.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
We've all been there.
and it has nothing really to do with like.
Misery loves company too, so we were all there
yeah.
together.
We were
yeah,
all
I
in
think
it.
we all remember that.
We were
Yeah.
all sludging through the mud.
Yes, we were dredging through the judgery, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah, that was fun times, great times, just good
I had a
memories. Did you see how we all got quiet after we talked about that?
Yeah, it's not a good time to look back on. Very formative, but
It is very formative, and honestly,
Not
like one
fun
of
to
these
look
days,
back
we
at.
should delve into it on the podcast because I think
yeah.
there's definitely a lot. Like if anybody's ever interested, like if anybody is ever interested in that ever, we should talk about it because
If
we
you
learned
want
a
to
lot of
know
shit.
what happened in the 2 years that we went to community college and we were all living together, let us know. We could get into it. It's very deep. You'll find out about issues that you never knew one could have.
You've never seen this before.
No.
Never.
No, it's actually probably very relatable.
You think
yeah,
so?
I actually do
Actually
because
do.
Not very many people actually have very like dramatic life circumstances over the most part. I feel like we had a pretty.
That whole year was dramatic. Like if I were to describe it in one word, it'd be dramatic.
That is true. There was action to shootings and stuff that we were.
We were not involved.
No,
in
we were
those,
not
to
involved.
be clear.
Good God, no. I'm just saying, like we were around it. And, like there was a lot
what you
of,
guys are talking about.
Okay.
There was a lot of stuff that happened during that year, and I'm sure it's stuff that a lot of people could relate to.
Yeah.
But we're probably jumping the gun a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I just, I don't know. This has been fun, guys.
Yeah. Does that pretty much wrap up our first episode then?
I think it does. I think it was a good like overview of just kind of like meeting us.
Yeah.
Like for anybody
Getting to know who we are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
even
what
if
we're
you
doing.
already know who we are and you're listening and you kind of know who we are and stuff like that, I think that this was still fun to just kind of like go over some stuff. And obviously none of this, wouldn't even consider this the tip of the iceberg of.
Oh, for sure. We have so many things that we can talk about. And
Oh,
things not
good.
related to us, too. We're not that narcissistic.
Well, we've all been friends for how long and we still haven't ran out of things to talk about. So.
Exactly.
We love talking. That's
Yeah.
our favorite thing
Well,
We
to
do.
do.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We are going to have 3 episodes, actually, for our first week. So look forward to that.
Whoop, whoop.
You can follow us on Instagram at Third Wheelcast, on Twitter at Third Wheelcast, and on Facebook we are Third Wheelcast. So
And hopefully
There you go.
our podcast is found wherever podcasts are found.
Fingers crossed. Please rate us 5 stars if that's the case.
Yeah. Peace.
thanks for listening.
Bye.